Hey everybody, this is Dante. Special edition of Eagles Talk, Coronavirus edition. There's no theme music or anything like that. It's a special Coronavirus edition with the shutdown. Our studio is we're out of business right now. We can't get in the studio because of the non-essential uh, businesses have to be shut down. So I told the rest of the crew we wouldn't be coming on, but after the day's events, I just could not go by without talking to you guys. So we're here. At least I'm here, and we can talk a little bit about what happened. So just bear with me. We don't have sound effects. It's not pretty. I mean, it's amazing that I even got this stuff up the way it is now. So audio might not be that great and all that, but I had to come to you guys and talk a little bit about what's happened today. Again, it's your man Dante the Dark Knight coming to you guys with a special edition of Eagles Talk, Coronavirus edition. We know everything's shut down. Our liquor stores in Delaware are not shut down, but I will not be doing shots today. I will not. But if you guys have libations, make sure you enjoy your favorite adult beverage as we talk about what happened in Philly football this week and this day. Yo, Pat's out there. Pat, you can moderate the online chat. I was trying to get you somehow to be on here with me, but it wasn't possible. And I know I told you guys we weren't coming on, but I was able to put something together with the limited resources I have at home now, because everything's at the studio, as you know. So I'm just sharing the program and waiting for everybody to get in there. You talk to the people in the chat room while I share this to the groups, and then we can start talking about what happened today. Howie the Wizard has done it again. Now, I have been spending a lot of time setting this up, so I don't know what has happened in the last couple of hours. You guys have to keep me abreast. But the last thing I heard, or the biggest thing today, was we got Darius Slay, and I'm ecstatic. After Howie allowed the likes of DeAndre Hopkins to slip through his fingers, he made a tremendous comeback by making a blockbuster trade for Darius Slay, I would say one of the top 10 cornerbacks in the league. You guys correct me if you feel different, but definitely checks off something that we need in this year. We needed a cornerback. We still have some needs. We had the signing of Hargrave, defensive tackle or nose tackle from Pittsburgh. I like that signing also. You guys let me know how you feel about that. And let me see if I can go to some comments out here. So again, this is Eagles Talk special coronavirus edition because everything's shut down, even our studio. So, but somehow I got this thing together so we can talk about it and we can be together during the free agency period. All right, so here we go. Let me see if I can get up here and 92 people. All right, so we got my co-host in the room with you guys, so he'll be talking with you guys as I follow along the comments. All right, there we go. Dante, yeah, what's up? Jaron's out there. Patrick Hargrave is a great pickup. Yes, let's get some linebackers. Yeah, Jerron, I'm with that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to put your comments up on the screen, but hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Darius Slay for a third and a fifth. Yes. Now, the only thing I'm not crazy about is the fact that we had to double pay for this guy. What do I mean by that? I mean, like, had we signed Byron Jones, which I'm glad we did not, because I think he was overpriced for the skill set he has. But had we signed someone like a Byron Jones, all we had to do was forfeit the money. But getting a player like Darius Slay, we had to not only give him the money, but also he cost us some draft capital. Now, you say for a dynamic quarterback, that's not that bad. But a 3 and a 5, as opposed to just being able to sign him and give him money, makes him a little bit more expensive than Byron Jones, if you get what I'm saying. Now he's making around the same amount of money when you average out the salary per year as Byron Jones, but I think he's a better value because he's actually a playmaker. He makes plays on the balls. He creates turnovers, whereas Byron Jones, not so much. A great cover corner, but I don't know. He just gave me a little bit of like Byron Maxwell and Nomney type of had to overpay. And I don't know if that's because how he kind of, I don't know. He kind of let DeAndre Hopkins slip through our fingers, for what they gave him. Well, I guess looking back on it, to get DeAndre Hopkins comparable compensation from our team would have probably been Miles Sanders. And maybe Howie didn't want to give up on Miles Sanders. But a 2 and David Johnson, that doesn't seem like a lot to get a difference maker like DeAndre Hopkins. And believe me, he's a bigger difference maker than even Darius Slay is. And I'm happy with Darius Slay. But I would have been much more happier with DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going, you got to catch guys when they're sleeping like they are, like Bill O'Brien. He's got to be drug tested after this darn transaction, this trade right here. How do you trade away your number one weapon to your young franchise quarterback? I mean, that's what we're looking for. We're grow together, play 5, maybe even 6 seasons together, and hopefully they're as big a difference maker as DeAndre Hopkins was. And they had him, and they let him go for basically a bag of cashews. So Bill O'Brien, I don't think he's going to be in Houston too much longer after this season because that was a bonehead move. Now, granted, I know you got to pay Arizona's going to have to pay DeAndre Hopkins, but they have Fitzgerald, who's probably on his way out. They can clear up some money for him with that. But you're going to find money for a playmaker like DeAndre Hopkins, and I would have loved to have him. Now, with that being said, we don't have him. We have Darius Slay. We have Hargrave, and I think that's a dynamic picker also. Oh my goodness. And they're talking about, and you guys should be talking about it in the chat room, but they're talking about getting Nagawe. Is that how you pronounce his name? Excuse me. But Nagawe from the Jaguars. Now, if they were to add him, although he'd be very, very pricey, especially with how we paid for Darius Slay, I hope he doesn't overpay. But you will probably have to overpay for Nagawe because he is just a top-notch pass rusher, young. He checks all the boxes. But I was listening to Sports Talk today, and although I think it's brilliant to get younger and sign some free agent talent, we can't make that a habit or a practice that we sign our talent rather than draft them because it's a lot cheaper if you can draft them. So I think we need to be putting all our resources in trying to make better draft selections and building that way. I mean, don't get me wrong. There has to be a nice balance, a nice mix of free agents versus draft choices. But we can't get in the habit of continuing to go out here and buy our talent because it costs a lot. And the draft, as I always say, is cheap labor. So just as these guys, it's almost like the stock market. These guys are actually making the correct pick, and they're cashing in on it. So they draft a young Nagawe. They draft a Darius Slay. They draft they draft these players, and once they reach their highest potential, they cash their chips in, and somebody like a Howie or other teams come along and give them more draft capital, and they get to do it all over again. Now, I'm not saying that every draft pick is going to be a home run, but come on. It's a better thing to be able to build through the draft than to have to go buy talent. It's just way more costly to do it that way. And I say all that, and I'm still happy. I'm still happy with Darius Slay. I am. I can't get past that. All right, so let me go to some comments. What are you guys saying out there? I'm all right. And just to give you an update, I think everybody on the Eagles Talk team is okay. Last you saw me was last week, and we were in the studio, and I was sniffling and I was coughing. And it really, really concerned me in this climate that we're living in. So the next day, the very next day, I go to the doctor because I'm not taking any chances. Now, I understood that I might be coming down with a cold because my kids had a cold just the previous week. So I probably caught their cold. But just to be on the safe side, I don't play. So I call in, and this is how it's going nowadays. It's just, the doctor, I usually call in for an appointment. They say, come on in that afternoon. No, not under these conditions here. I call in for the appointment. The receptionist asked me some questions. Have you traveled abroad in the last 14 days? No, I have not. What are your symptoms? Runny nose, cough, no fever, chest congestion. Okay. Well, you say right there, don't come into the office. She didn't actually say that, but basically that's what I got from her. Don't come into the office. We'll have the doctor call you. So they do. They have the doctor call me about 15 minutes, and she's talking to me, and she's asking me the symptoms, and I'm telling her no fever, runny nose, cough, chest congestion. She said, what are you taking? I tell her what I'm taking. All right, you probably do have a cold. Just nurse it, and don't go to work, and you just have to let it run its course. All right, now it did get scary. Over the weekend, the chest congestion developed into pain in breathing. I was having trouble breathing. Not really trouble breathing, but every time I breathed, it was hurting and stuff like that. So after a couple of days of trying everything, it didn't work. I finally decided to go to the emergency room. I go to the emergency room. No coronavirus, thank God. No coronavirus or anything like that. I actually had an infection from the cold. It produced some swelling around the heart that was easily solved with some anti-inflammatories. Now, I tried everything at home, everything but the over-the-counter ibuprofen. Had I took some ibuprofen, I would kids grow up. So it was a scary moment, but I'm okay. The Eagles Talk gang is okay, but our studio is closed, so we can't go up there. And I left all my equipment in the studio, so we can't go up there. But I'm glad to be able to come before you guys right now. Quentin Hurd says, I like the Slay. We need linebackers, wide receivers, and running backs to complement Sanders. Yes, we still got a ways to go now. Don't get it twisted. Slay is a big part of. Slay is that type of receiver that type of cornerback that he can handle the top receiver on the opposing team's team. We can just let him play that guy and worry about concentrating on the other receivers. He's that type of cornerback, and I'm glad that we have that finally. Now, what Jim Johnson used to do was, when you had a corner like that, he wouldn't even let him play the number one. He would let him play the number two guy, shut the number two guy down because he's a superior talent as a cover corner. Let him shut down the number two guy, and then he would use a double team on the number one on the other side. Use two people to shut down the number one. So I don't know what Schwartz is going to do, but I know one thing we should not be seeing with Darius Slay on our team now. We should not see Darius Slay playing the sticks. If I see Darius Slay playing the sticks, I'm going to be so angry at Schwartz. And it's going to be proof that his scheme sucks. Now, he has a Darius Slay in his tool belt now. We should not see him playing the sticks. In other words, he should not be 10 yards off of the receiver. This guy is a premium talent, and it's a reason why we traded a 3 and a 5 to get him and unlock the coffers to give him $50 million over 3 years. So allow him to do his job. That's all I'm going to say about that. Hargrave is another plus I see in this team. I'm so happy that we have him. Our defensive line is shaping up to be scary again. Now, we thought it was going to be scary going into last year, but Jackson got hurt and kind of foiled all that. So we retooled or we loaded up even more. Now we even have a backup if one of these three better than what we had last year. Because last year we had all our eggs in the basket with Jackson and Cox, and Jackson happened to get hurt, and then we had just Cox in a rotation. So now we're in better shape now. If one of these three guys get hurt, we still have the other two. Hopefully they have a better training staff now, and we won't have those. We had a lot of soft tissue injuries last year, and I hope that we have a better training staff now that we're not getting hurt. We need to keep our injuries down. That's been killing us the last few years. It was a miracle that we won the Super Bowl when we did, because we had a lot of injuries then too. But we need these guys to be healthy, because if they're healthy, then we can really salivate over what we have here on the defensive line. And the Nagawe, if we could somehow pull off that move, come on, think about it. I don't know. We would probably have to give up a lot to keep him, or to get him, actually. I'm talking about draft capital. We might even have to throw a player or two in there. It will be a miracle if we can bring a young talent such as him in there to be a rusher off the end, and didn't have our interior defensive line the way it is. That would be amazing. But outside of that, that was just some talk. He put up some cryptic tweets today. He put up a picture of Reggie White on his Twitter, and he put up a emoji of an eagle on his Twitter also. So it got me a little excited. All right, let me go to some comments out here. Patrick is in the room. Patrick says, that's my co-host. What do you say? No, what did you say before? It says something earlier. Howie is making more moves. DN from the Jags, maybe an Eagle before the draft. That would be great. Nagawe, Everett says, Nagawe, however you spell it, is talking Eagles or not. Bird Gang for life, Robert Frey. Carlos is in the house. He says, no on Yannick for me, too pricey. He is going to be pricey, Carlos. I know that. And that's what scares me at a 3 and a 5. But when you talk about the combination of a 3, 5, and 50 million, that's pricey. That's draft capital, plus he took a chunk off of the salary cap that we had, the money we had to spend this offseason. So that was pricey. And I think that Yannick is going to be as equally as pricey or even more, because he's looking for top DN money in the league. We're talking like DeMarcus Lawrence money, $21 million a year. Clowney is looking for 25. This guy is probably looking in that same area, if not as much. We're still talking 21 to start or something. So that's going to be pricey. John Patisse, I think Joe Douglas showed Howie a new draft formula. Has he? Neil says Jeffrey and Ertz for a first and Julio Jones. Oh, Jeffrey and Ertz. Well, I love Ertz. Don't get me wrong, and then I think Goddard would be is formidable. But we like to do a lot of 12 personnel. So if we let Ertz go, that's going to kind of hinder us there. But sometimes it's addition by subtraction. Julio, that would be something else. Howie isn't the greatest when drafted. No, he isn't. That's what Patrick says. Howie is making. Let me see what else. It's pronounced Ngakwe. Ngakwe. All right, Isaac. Thank you. Ngakwe. All right. Did we trade? We traded Darius, Billy. How are we going to get rid of Alshon? I don't know. Coop DeVille says, what's up, Eagles family? What's up, Coop? Jordan Porter, either way, first pick got to go wide receiver, whether it's a trade or we're drafted. Yes, but if we go Ngakwe, we may have to give up that first round pick. We can't give up the first round pick. We got to keep the first round pick, because we need a wide receiver. We need 2 wide receivers. And at present, and I'm throwing Alshon out of there. I'm not including him in the equation, because with all intents and purposes, he's not going to be here next year. So we have one starting quality wide receiver, and that's Deshaun Jackson. And he's coming. He's a 33-year-old speedster coming off a injury-plagued season. So we need at least 2 starting quality wide receivers added to this roster. I think the most ideal situation is that we get one through the draft, one of those top 3, and the other we get through free agency. So hopefully we can do that. We need to do that. What's up, Eagles family? How we gonna get rid of Alshon? Did we trade? No. Which way am I going? I'm going the wrong way. Are these are not the most recent. Robbie Anderson. No Gurley. No, we need healthy players. No, we don't need Gurley. You're right about that. Robbie Anderson. I would love Robbie Anderson in free agency. Should we keep Clement? At the right price, I would keep Clement. Jones will make up Zach's production. Jones can't stay healthy. Who is Jones? Oh, Julio. Glad you're feeling better. Do you think Green Goblin can be sturdy enough to fill Jenkins' shoes? That's another thing. I haven't even talked about the fact that we allowed one of our team leaders to walk, and he didn't even last a day, 24 hours before he was scooped up and signed, and not for too much more than what he was getting here to bring Malcolm Jenkins back. Because when you look at what he signed for in New Orleans, it's not something that was beyond what we could have done here in Philadelphia. He's made eight, he was scheduled to make $8 million. I think it's averaging out to him making 8.5 this year. That's not a price that couldn't be paid by this Philadelphia Eagles team here. And as much as and we all love Malcolm Jenkins, he was a team leader. He was an emotional leader. It was like Brian Dawkins all over again, seeing him walk out the door. But when you look at the situation and look at what he signed for, you can't help but think that they just did not want Malcolm. A lot of influence in that locker room. Was he a bad guy? No. But when we're talking about people like letting Alshon Jeffrey go for things like such as not getting along with the quarterback, then maybe Malcolm Jenkins was just too strong of a personality in that locker room with Carson Wentz there. I don't know. I'm just guessing because I can't understand. I can't figure out any other reason why they wouldn't bring this guy back, and he was affordable. With that being said, man, shout out to Malcolm Jenkins. Thank you for your service to the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think we win that Super Bowl if it's dropping like flies. He was the one that was keeping the spirit up. I know there was others that contributed, but he was the most out front in keeping the spirit up and rallying the troops, and we won the Super Bowl. So Malcolm Jenkins, hats off to you, sir. Good luck to you, except for when you play us, but good luck to you in the future. Now, Jalen Mills is going to be converted to a safety. We've all been talking about that all the time. My co-host especially has always mentioned that see if he can actually play safety. I think he has the mentality. Just has to be more disciplined. He can't bite as a safety. He's the last line of defense. He has the skill set to play there. We just have to recondition his mind, and I think he will do a good job. Is he going to be Malcolm Jenkins? I don't think he's going to be Malcolm Jenkins. Not out the gate anyway. But I think he has the skill set to play safety, and he has played it in college. So it seems like it should be a smooth transition, but it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. Let me see some. Get some. All right. Hello. What are the Eagles doing? But even more than that, they need wide receivers. John Batiste said, I like the Slay signing, and not many are noting that Jim Schwartz actually drafted him when he was Detroit's head coach. Yes, he did. Yeah, that's a good point to make. D-Rock, I hope that didn't kill the first-round pick on the DM from the Jazz. Drafting is cheaper than signing people off the streets. It is a lot cheaper. So I think we need to start. All we needed, we started when we were going into the contracts. Darius Slay is now making $50 million over 3 years. JT Hargrave has got a nice. We have 3 defensive tackles making over $10 million. So he took a chunk of the salary cap money also. But I think there's enough left for us to sign a free agent wide receiver. Ngakwe he's just a luxury if we can possibly. We have to remember that we need a wide receiver also, so we can't forget about that fact either. So let's remember that. All right, so Pat, you're in that room out there. I don't have. Let me see who else. You glad you're okay, my brother? Yes, I'm glad I'm okay. Okay. What do you think about Cory Clement? Now Cory is friend of the show, friend of the family. with all my heart. I want him to come back. He did an outstanding job for us in that Super Bowl year. He has been injured since then, and not not available to show his full potential or to continue to grow upon what he showed us that his rookie year. I would love to bring him back. I would. And if the market, if he's still out there, I think Howie would probably consider bringing him back because he's a guy that likes to take advantage of value. And because of the injuries the last couple of years, Cory Clement is probably affordable to us right now. We probably can afford him. I don't think he's going to be demanding a lot in the free agent market. So if we can possibly bring him back, give him a little raise. I don't think he's going to cost a lot. I would love to keep him in Philadelphia. He's a Philadelphia kid, and I think in a year of health under his belt, I think he can return to the form that he had in 2017. Just given a chance. So yeah, I would love to bring him back. I would love to bring him back. Dante, you smoke that. All right. I don't know if I got. Do I have the most? Glad you look. You okay? All right. Do I have the most common comments? You ain't puffing cheeb, are you? No. Bill says you ain't puffing cheeb. No, I'm not doing that. Some possible good cheap running backs: Freeman or Gurley or Gordon. Gordon is not going to be. He's not going to be cheap. Gordon is going to be expensive, but possible since Howard is gone. Well, there's a need for him since. Can I take a little break? I can't take a break in the middle of the broadcast. Let me see. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. It is Eagles Talk, the coronavirus edition. We have been shut down from the studio, not able to come live from Philadelphia's 2E, and it's a miracle that I was able to put this broadcast together. You might see a little stoppage here and there because I didn't hardwire the laptop or whatever, but I just had to come before you guys because we had a couple of happenings this week. And our old friend Nick Foles, how about that? He got traded to Chicago. The Chicago Bears now have Nick Foles. I don't think we will see him this year, but if he goes far and we go far, we may bump into him in the playoffs. You all know about Tom Brady and him switching teams. That was the talk of the town. And this is the thing about, with sports being shut down. The day that happened, I saw too much coverage of Tom Brady and him going to Tampa Bay. Too much coverage because there's nothing in the news cycle. In the sports news cycle, there's not a lot to be talked about. So I had to watch 6 hours of coverage every way that you can possibly talk about Tom Brady leaving on. Let's rejoice the fact that the New England Patriots are now going to return to a mediocre level. That's what I see. They don't have any weapons there now. They don't have the great Tom Brady there to help bail him out. And we saw even last year when you don't give him any weapons, it's impossible for him to produce the magic that he normally produces. So, hats off to him. Good luck to him. Well, not that much luck because he's going to be in the NFC East now. But he's going to Tampa Bay. There's some quarterbacks out there. I don't know if you guys are thinking about a backup for Carson Wentz. But had he been available in that playoff game, we might have fared a little bit better than McCown. Love McCown, great locker guy, great guy to have next to Carson as a mentor and the such. But ability-wise, I would have loved to see Suffolk in there, a little more athletic, has a grasp of the offense. I would have loved to see him in that playoff game rather than McCown. It baffles the mind that he was not activated or available for that game. But that being said, he's going to be on the roster in 2020, 2021 because we re-signed him to a one-year deal. We also re-signed, who was that? McLeod. McLeod will be back. So we let Malcolm walk. We're changing the Green Goblin's position to safety. He's going to probably be taking his spot. What to do about the other cornerback? Maybe Sidney Jones will finally reach his potential or show more He showed some flashes at times in spot duty. He came up with some big plays at the end of the games late last year. So maybe he will finally get it together upstairs, because we talked about him not having confidence, and even Malcolm Jenkins alluded to it somewhat in the season. So maybe he'll get it together upstairs. We don't have Nelson Aguilar. We don't have that head case wide receiver. So that remains to be seen. There is some rumblings about us maybe trading up in the first round to make sure to secure the possibility of us drafting one of those top 3 wide receivers in the draft, Judy, um, Lamb, or Ruggs. And I would love to see that. I would love to see us grab one of them and move up. But in order to do that, we can't get rid of all our draft cap. Home, the crew said we weren't going to come on. We didn't want to jeopardize the quality of the production just to have a production. But I just said it was just too much going on not to come before you guys and talk about what's going on. So thank you guys for being out there for us. Can't give up that pick. John Johnson says, what do you think, wide receiver or running back or cornerback? In the draft, if you're talking, John, as we do that. Everett says, no more giving up draft picks. I think they were in. We get a D. JJ got to step up. Yeah. Now, I said that we only have one starting caliber wide receiver on the team, and I mean that. And I understand that we have JJ, Arcega-Whiteside, caliber wide receivers. Don't get me wrong, Greg Ward did an admirable job, but it is Greg Ward. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he more than worked or earned his shot at being a starting slot receiver on this team. I don't think he's going to be an outside receiver or the opportunity to be the starting slot receiver. So Greg Ward is out there, but I would not count him as a